Welcome to Duplicity and Duress, Snap Factories in the Making, my reading of Chapter 4, entitled Sydney and the Skull Ring. This chapter begins with an excerpt from another reading, and then I'll get into the chapter. So with that, I'll read the excerpt from another book. Listen, I can't answer all of these questions with rules and regulations. I am not the creative nonfiction police. There is a woman in the audience, a person only semi-relaxed, always ready to act or react. Well, I am, she announces. Someone has to be, and you are under arrest. Then she scoops up her shoes and storms barefoot from the room. The question and answer ends soon after. This is from the Creative Nonfiction Police essay. It's an essay written by Lee Gutkind on a reading he gave in which a woman seemed to know what he was going to say, even though what he said was unplanned and in fact was the first time he uttered anything about the idea of quote-unquote nonfiction police. And with that said, we will start with Sydney and the Skull Ring. This would be Chapter 4 in Duplicity and Duress, Snap Factories in the Making. Sydney seated herself in the same exact spot every single day of the training, all 7 days of it, for women organized against rape. It was where she could be seen clearly by everyone in the room because it was at the far upper right-hand corner of a long double-wide table in the large conference room where we congregated. It was the first chair just to the side of where the two training moderators took their seats at the head of the table. This was how I came to know Sydney. This training was held in the Arch Building located on the corner of 17th and Arch Streets, just across from ongoing construction of the then yet-to-be-completed Comcast building, the tallest skyscraper in the city with mirrored glass, an enormous movie-like screen in its lobby, which attracts thousands of tourists each year to watch it in amusement. It features interesting mechanical movements depicted in cartoon fashion on screen. It seems now, in retrospect, Sydney reveled in placing herself smack dab right next to the facilitators, one of who went by 2 aliases and carried an air of off-putting, creepy mystique. The second of whom was genuine and kind, projecting no fakery or falsehoods at all. Sydney, with her short, dark hair, untweezed eyebrows, au naturel, slender build, and bright blue eyes, operated with a soft demeanor and joked about her hair resembling that of a long-time infamous porn star. Yes, this was her claim to fame while sitting in a training session for women organized against rape, that she donned a haircut resembling a well-known porn star. All that aside, she was one of the first people in the room willing to self-disclose about her alleged experience with rape. Her story was that she grew up in an unconventional household according to the typical status quo. Although, she explained to me once, my upbringing was traditional and conventional to me. You know what I mean? It's what I knew, so to me it was traditional. Her story continued. She was raised in a house share consisting of her biological family as well as a group of friends and extended family. Very much like a commune, but not a full-blown commune from my understanding. I could be mistaken, but as far as I know, it was a tribe of people who knew each other and decided to share resources. This type of arrangement not only reinforced friendships and allegedly cultivated relationships, it allowed for money to be saved, vacations to be taken, and school tuitions to be paid off more easily. But there was the occasional downside. She said one of the guys who attended high school with her, who often hung around her house, wound up taking advantage of her in a sexual way. What was so frustrating, she added, was convincing her family of his inappropriateness. They just couldn't see it, she said. He seemed like a regular nice guy. It's so typical. No one could imagine him doing such a thing. I completely understood what she was talking about. Some of us identify with that one quiet kid who can't speak up about what's happened to him or her, the one without a voice hidden within a huge congregation of people who are blinded to what is really going on. It is only that one quiet kid who knows the truth about someone in charge. He or she looks around wondering why no one else can see what he or she sees and knows is true. But when Sydney told her story during the training session, something seemed off. Like she wanted to see if she could convince people of her trauma. This is not something I say offhandedly. It is very difficult for true victims and survivors of all forms of rape, violent, coerced, or drug-induced rape to be believed. to convince others that something's not right with someone in the family or within the community, on campus, or in a place of worship. It isn't without a lot of thought and great concern that I say it's possible she could have been fibbing, pulling off a trick. I've come to learn that many people take great pride in being able to do such things. It is, it seems, their life goal. But to do so in a situation like this is beyond uncool. It is very sick. It leaves me wondering what her justification was, and the only justification I can come up with is that some people serve as starters within a group. As a starter, she was paving the way or giving permission for others in the group to speak up. Without a starter, many true victims and survivors of abuse would remain silent, still afraid to say anything. They need someone else to be the first to speak, in other words. Maybe to ensure they were in a safe space to recount their experiences without being judged or questioned. But at the time, I couldn't say for sure this was Sydney's situation. Besides, I was too wrapped up in my own personal drama to care that much. 2 years of self-induced reclusiveness was part of that drama, and a recent daring escape to re-engage with the world at large was another. Training with women organized against rape was a much-needed experience in that excursion. I often wonder if the reclusiveness could have been a necessary stop along my path, one that was required to move through a natural life cycle so as to purge myself of years of repressed feelings and memories. If this is true, then the idea I posited before, the one about the universe working its magic, well, it was probably doing so during the reclusive stage and then again here and now in this training. The training offered information I would need to better understand how survivors are affected and why we struggle to make it in normal society. In a way, training moved me past an issue I had with, this sounds silly, turkey Reubens. Here's the deal with turkey Reubens. Just before signing up to train with this organization, I was consuming on a daily basis turkey Reubens, 20-ounce bottles of Coke Classic, and a side of chips. The people, which appeared to be a family running the deli I visited for these foods, became my best friends. I loved that deli. Technically, it was called the Lettuce and Tomato Deli. But the way the sign was painted, it looked like the Leto Deli. It sat on the corner of 13th and Changeling. The staff would smile and nod, saying, "Hey there, how are you today?" knowing the turkey Reuben girl was, yet again, there to pick up her sandwich. "Good, good," I would say, smiling in return as if we were all best buds. My other best buds might as well have been Seinfeld characters. They distracted me from the isolation and offered a good dose of humor during reruns every night around 7 p.m. I convinced myself I could pull off this kind of life for a really long time, maybe even forever. Why not? I mean, freelancing made it possible. It was a way to shield myself from the countless controlling crazy people seemingly on the rise out there in the real world, and this was a way to save myself from such cretins. Besides, such a life wasn't so abnormal in the modern age. Home-based businesses, freelancing opportunities, independent careers, they make up the new workplace now. No more bullies, power grabbers, game players, and rats racing to the top within the office cubicle maze where water coolers, dim cafeteria lighting, and flickering microwaves reign supreme. "Did you watch Wheel of Fortune last night?" Coworker number 1 would say to coworker number 2 while they poured water from the tap at the fountain into a tiny paper cup with little ridges on its side. "Only the very end, when the girl missed solving the last puzzle," coworker 2 would say, lifting the cup to her mouth while shaking her head. "Yeah, I know. Can you believe it? How easy was that? And she missed it." I kept yelling at the screen saying, "Maple, Maple, it's Maple," coworker 1 would say, doubling over in laughter, only it would be a fake laughter. "Ha, I know," she kept saying. "Marble. I mean, with a clue like European folk festivals, how do you come up with marble?" Coworker 2 would say, shaking her head some more, her hand diving into a supersized bag of Pepperidge Farm goldfish crackers. The third bag she would have eaten since 9 a.m. that morning. Sydney, although not freelancing, already knew how to exist outside of such a world of water coolers and monotonous conversations. She and the house share families she was raised with figured out decades ago what they needed to do and how they needed to live in order to make the most out of what this type of society offers. Sydney was raised within a paradigm that I was only just discovering many years later. So thank you. That is chapter 4, Sydney and the skull ring. um, Much appreciated. I will read more chapters in the coming days. Thank you.